Hey Plexus friends, Amy Welch, Sapphire Ambassador, and I want to talk to you today about momentum and how the pace of the leader determines the pace of the pack. Really quickly, for those of you who don't know my story, I was a complete skeptic and a total network marketing snob, but I ended up hitting Emerald in 8 months and I ranked to Sapphire on my 1-year anniversary. One thing about our team is that we're really wide and we seem to almost always be in momentum. So a lot of people ask me what I do, right? How do I get those big checks? How do I earn the gala? How do I earn the Rolex? How do I earn the shopping spree? So I have come up with a few tips that I think are what help me keep my team in momentum. Now, before I get started, I do want to tell you guys, if you're not following my journey, you may not know that I just sold my house. We actually close in a few days while I'm at convention, and we're living in an RV to travel the country. This is the first video in our RV, so bear with me. We aren't even unpacked. Bear with me, and let's hope everything goes great, okay? So, how do you get yourself and your team in momentum? I hear it all the time. Everyone wants to know, how do you get momentum? Or I'll hear people say, oh my goodness, like my team is not in momentum. We are not growing. What is happening? Okay? Well, the number one tip I have, guys, for momentum is mindset. And I know you hear that word a lot in this industry. You hear it a lot from a lot of the jewels, and I'm sure it's been a lot of the other videos, but it's so important. Mindset is the foundation for everything. Right? You need to have unshakable belief and a bold confidence in everything you do. If you watch Brienne's video, she talked about that belief, right? Belief in yourself, the company, the products, and the industry. And I think that is huge. If you can build your belief and have unshakable belief in those 4 things, then that is going to build your confidence, okay? No matter who you talk to, whether it's a potential, whether it's just someone in your network, or whether it's someone on your team, you want to have this bold confidence about Plexus, okay? Because that is what is going to set the foundation for momentum. Nobody wants to join and nobody wants to work for somebody that does not have a bold confidence in what they're doing and in everything about it. It's in everything from your language, so assuming, the sale using positive language, and your posture, being that confident person in Plexus and knowing that we have the best products, the best opportunity, the best corporate staff, including the best customer service, okay? So get your mindset right. If you have ever complained to your team about customer service, you are not in the right mindset. If someone has come to you and complained about the wait times on customer service and you've said, oh my gosh, I know it's terrible, you are not in the right mindset, and you are not determining the pace of your pack as the leader, all right? We need to have that bold confidence and that unshakable belief in our mindset. You also, guys, though, you want to help your team have that mindset, and they are going to follow your lead in that have that belief, okay? So they get that from you. One quick story I like to tell about belief is, sometimes your team doesn't have it, and that's okay. They can get that unshakable belief from you. When I was a senior Ruby and I was going for Emerald, the most we had ever recruited on our team was 45 in 1 month. So when I told my upline that I wanted to rank to Emerald in 2 months, she said, that's great, but you're going to need to add 100 people every month to get there. And my first reaction was like, no way. The most we've ever added was 45. No way I can go more than double that. But her belief in me was unshakable. And I ranked to Emerald in those next 2 months, okay? So you can be that unshakable belief for your team. My other tip for momentum, guys, is team culture. What does your team culture look like? Okay, because you get to determine it. You get to set it. Whether you have 1 person on your team or you have 10,000 people on your team, you determine the culture. What does that look like? For me, I think the most important part of the culture is you should be going after everyone's health testimony. You shouldn't be going after their points, shouldn't be going after their PV, shouldn't be going after their welcome packs. Your goal for everyone on your team should be success on the products, okay? Then your second goal for them should be success in this business, okay? So what does your team culture look like? Listen, guys, people want to be a part of something bigger. If you're just adding them to the team page and then you're not interacting with them, you're not on the team page, then that's not fun for them, and that's not something bigger, and that's not really supporting them in their journey. Okay? So what does your team culture look like? I strive to make my team culture one of fun, positivity, absolutely zero drama, zero negativity, no complaining. Okay, I have no problem deleting anything on the team page that is negative or is a complaint. Now, will I follow up with that person? Sure, but it has no place on my team page. Okay, so what does your team culture look like? Are you someone who's just copy and post from other places, or are you your authentic self? One thing I will tell you that is a good tip that I recently discovered. You know, I used to be in a lot of other Jules team pages because I wanted to see what they were doing, right? We wanted to share best practices, and I'm all for sharing best practices. But if you're somebody who spends too much time looking to see what people on the left and right are doing, then get out of those other team pages and stay in your lane, okay? Focus on your team pages. And if you find yourself just copying posts from other people, then you know it's time. You need to be your authentic self for your team culture, right? Are you hosting team calls for your team? Are you doing videos? Okay? What does that look like? Because all of that determines your team's culture, okay? The other thing, guys, you don't have to have a team page to affect your team's culture. Are you on your Jewel Uplines team page, and are you engaged? That is so huge, guys. I did not start a team page until I was senior Ruby. My team culture was built on how I interacted on my uplines page. Are you commenting? Are you participating in activities? At launch events that somebody else is hosting or a sideline is hosting, are you helping out? Are you sharing your testimony? Are you commenting? Are you giving people shout outs? Okay, are you welcoming new ambassadors? Okay, if you are just adding people and you are nowhere to be found on the team page, you do not have a team culture that's going to set you up for momentum. You do not have a team culture that's going to develop business builders. You may not even have a team culture that is going to develop people into having product success and health testimonies, okay? So pay attention and look and see what your team culture looks like, and if you don't like it, or if it's not one of fun and positivity and encouragement and support, you can change it, okay? My other tip about momentum is going fast, okay? And I'm not necessarily talking about fast start, okay? Fast start is great. I fast started. We've had several people on our team fast start gold. I've even had one person do it twice, which is really cool, right? She fast started her leg, and then her husband joined onto her, and they fast started his leg. But what I mean by going fast is, what are you doing in the first 90 days of getting your new ambassador signed? Okay, it should be all hands on deck, full of support, excitement. You can talk about Fast Start Gold, but you certainly want to talk about getting to silver, getting some customers, and getting that health testimony. Okay, and don't wait. Guys, one thing that helps momentum is what you do in the first 48. Okay, now when I say that, it reminds me of the show on A&E, right? I come from a crime scene background, written a couple books on crime scene investigation. In that world, the first 48 hours of an investigation are imperative, okay? If you don't find something out in the first 48 hours, your chances of solving a crime drop drastically. It's actually the same for Plexus and for your team. What you do in the first 48 hours determines the success of your ambassadors and your team. And if you are not pouring into them, reaching out to them, adding them to the team page, getting them on the phone, putting them in a three-way with your upline in the first 48 hours of them signing, their chance of success drops significantly. So what are you doing in the first 48 hours? Okay, I want you to look at that. Minimally, when somebody joins your team in the first 48 hours, and I'm not talking about the first 48 hours from when you feel like it, I mean the first 48 hours from when they join your team. You should be calling them on the phone to welcome them, go over the products, making that connection with them as your new level one. You should be putting them in a three-way message to introduce them to your upline. You should be adding them to either your team page, or if you don't have one, your upline's team page, okay? And getting them engaged. That is so, so important on going fast in those first 48 hours, but then also focusing on their first 90 days of success. Are you following up with them? Are they taking the products? Are they being consistent? Are they still, 60 days in and they're hanging around on one probiotic or two, right? Be invested in them. Are they drinking their water? Okay, so going fast in those first 90 days is also for all ambassadors. A lot of times when people hear me say, oh, well, you call them and you add them to a message with your upline, that's great. What do you do with your wholesalers? I do the exact same thing. Every ambassador that I add gets the exact same treatment, whether they are going to work the business or not. And that's because when I joined, I told my upline, Sarah Taylor, I said, don't you add me to any team pages. I don't want to be in any Facebook groups. Don't. I will never work this business. Well, luckily, she had a process that she followed, and she didn't care what her ambassador said. She followed the same process for everyone, and that included welcoming me to the team page, adding me to the team page, and putting me in three-way messages. And now look at me. So I follow that same procedure, and so does my team for all of our ambassadors, whether they're wholesale or not. Okay? My next tip for momentum is goal setting, okay? Now, this is something that in my old corporate job, I would never goal set because back then, goal setting was just something you had to do to check a box to turn into HR, kind of like your performance evaluation too. And then once you did it and you were done, then you could get back to doing the real work, right, that was necessary. So I never goal set. So when I came into Plexus, and I'm probably like a gold, and Sarah says, you should probably do some goal setting. Let's set your goals for your next rank. I thought, no, I'm too busy like reaching out to people and messaging and signing people to goal set. But guys, goal setting is so, so important. I wish I was unpacked. I actually wish I was brave enough to turn my laptop around so you could see the hot mess that is this RV right now with all the boxes. But if you could see my notebook from when I started, you would see that on every page, I would start a fresh page for the month, for the new month. I would put my rank goal, how many people I needed on my team, how many points I needed, how many I needed to grow, how many I needed to add. And then I would write down all the names of the people on my team I could impact. Who could I get to silver? Who could I get to gold? Who was pushing other ranks? I did that every single month. And I set those goals. I also put in there actions, okay? What events could I host? What training calls could I do? What team calls could I do? I did that, and I looked at that notebook every single day. So that goal was there staring me in the face. Every day I saw that number. You need 6 new ambassadors. Okay, you need 5. You need 4. And that got me motivated to stay in that momentum. Right? You must goal set, but you must see it every day. You can't just goal set and then put it in a notebook and sit it on your desk. All right? You must also work towards it every single day. A lot of times when it comes to goal setting and action, there are a lot of people that are great about making lists. They are great about making goals. They're great about writing them out, setting them. They've got a beautiful, fancy planner that they write them in, but they never take action. Okay, so don't be one of those people that are always getting ready to do something. Go do it. Okay, that's my biggest tip for you guys. It's that the pace of the leader determines the pace of the pack. Again, I don't care if you have one person on your team or you have 10,000 people on your team. The pace of the leader, you, determines the pace of the pack. Do you want a thriving business? Then you need to be thriving in activity. Do you want to make those big paychecks? Then you need to determine your pace as the leader. Here's why, okay? I don't know what it is. I'm going to call it the universe, okay? But if you are not working your business every single day, now I don't mean it has to be 8 hours a day. When I first started, I didn't have any time. It was like 10 minutes, okay? If you are not working your business in activity, so if you're not talking about Plexus, if you're not living that unshakable belief, that bold confidence, if you're not doing your posting on Facebook, if you're not attending team calls, the universe knows that, and that's the energy you put out. So not only is your team not going to do the same thing, you are not going to recruit the people that you want, okay? I hear a lot of times people say, oh man, Amy, I just wish I had a business builder. I just wish I had a rock star. Why would a rock star want to join your team if you're not even posting or if you're not even engaged on the team page? Okay, the energy that you put out is what you get back. If you're putting out lazy energy, you're not going to get anything back. All right? So are you recruiting? Are you doing your daily IPA? Are you sending those bold messages to people? Are you sharing plexus with that unshakable belief? Are you working it every single day? If you're not, then that is where you're going to lose your momentum and your business will not grow. You need to work it every single day. If you don't show up, they aren't going to show up, okay? So if you aren't on the team calls, if you aren't going to the meetings, I mean, I can't tell you how many leaders I have seen in this company that are upset that they're not in momentum, but they're also not going to events. They're also not on the team calls. And when I ask why, then they say, well, I don't have time. Or, I had to prioritize my time and I just decided to do my IPA. Listen, that isn't enough, guys. You have to be visible, okay? You don't have to be a perfect leader. You have to show up, all right? You have to be visible. If your people don't see you, if your network doesn't see you, then it doesn't matter. You have to show up. You have to do the things because, again, the pace of the leader determines the pace of the pack. If you have thought for a hot second, or even longer than a hot second, I know you have, we all have, I have, I've been guilty of it. If you have ever said in your head, oh man, my team has lost momentum. Your team hasn't lost momentum, you have, okay? And the easiest way to get back in momentum is to get back in activity, okay? I personally think that a fantastic team culture and personal activity, those two together, that's the secret sauce to momentum. Thanks, guys.